What's going on, everybody? My name is Joe and I like to draw cartoons. And I am back yet again with another Deadpool and Wolverine themed video. It's no secret that Deadpool and Wolverine is kind of taking over the world right now, taking over pop culture, just eclipsed $1 billion at the box office. And like the title states, I'm going to be taking Deadpool and Wolverine and turning them into certain iconic cartoon character duos. As you will see, these duos will range from the different sides of the spectrum when it comes to cartoon characters and cartoon shows. These were all so much fun to make, and they were mainly suggested to me from my followers on TikTok. I'm always reading comments and looking at the suggestions that people have for me for work they want to see from me in the future. And I look at my YouTube comments, YouTube Shorts comments, Instagram, all that. Make sure you're following me on all the platforms so you may see some suggestions that you may have for me in a video upcoming. But again, I just want to state how much I loved making these. They were all such great ideas for combinations of certain duos to fuse well with Deadpool and Wolverine and to fuse well with the kind of personality traits that each character has. So whenever I do a challenge like this where it's basically fusing two characters together, there's always certain characteristics about the character's design that I like to incorporate into these drawings. So with Deadpool and Wolverine, we'll start with Deadpool for example. You're going to see most of Deadpool's mask, but it's be kind of pulled up to his nose area so you can still see his mouth and still see some details of the face. With that, it allows me some more flexibility in order to add some more details to show what the character is, what the character looks like, rather than just being hidden behind Deadpool's mask. And then with Wolverine, you're going to see a lot of his iconic spiky hair. You're going to see his yellow suit. There's going to be somewhere you see the claws, and he's going to have the mutton chops that go into a little beard over here. And that's going to be the main characteristics for these characters that you'll see when they're fused with these other iconic duos. And the first duo I'll be talking about is cat and dog. If you are around my age, mid to late 20s, you probably grew up watching this show called Cat Dog. It's an iconic show about a cat and a dog that are basically fused together as one character, and the personalities of the cat and the dog fit really well with Deadpool and Wolverine. The cat being Wolverine, being a more uptight person who's always annoyed by the go-with-the-flow dog who's always cracking jokes, which will be Deadpool. And then if you look right over here, you see the finished product. Again, it's one of my favorite drawings of the year. You see Cat with the claws going through Deadpool's face. I had a blast making this. On to the next one. Going from one show that is relatively older onto one that is definitely one of the newer ones is going to be Deadpool and Wolverine as Pim and Charlie from the show Smiling Friends. Now, Smiling Friends is an absolutely off-the-walls comedy show. I have not gotten a chance to watch it. I've seen a handful of clips served to me on TikTok. It's certainly on my watch list. It feels like it's right up my alley because I love shows like Rick and Morty. I love shows like Family Guy. I love South Park. I feel like it's right up my alley, so it's certainly on my watch list, and I've been seeing a lot of fan art of these characters reimagined into different characters or different styles. So Smiling Friends is definitely a style of characters that I've been trying to do more often, and it's been a lot of fun. It's certainly a challenge because the characters are very uniquely designed, and I'm having a blast with it so far. So if you want to see more Smiling Friends content, make sure to let me know in the comments. So for this one, I kind of just went with choosing Charlie to be Wolverine, and then Pim to be Deadpool. I don't know if the personalities match very well because, again, I haven't watched the show. But when I had the idea in my head of how to design them as Deadpool and Wolverine, those are the characters that came to mind, and I think it fit pretty good. One thing that I do really like about this finished product you'll see right here is the eyes of Pim. His eyes are basically just a bunch of circle squiggles, and I wanted to incorporate that into the Deadpool mask eye design. So I think it turned out pretty good over here. And then Charlie's basically Charlie with the mutton chops, the Wolverine hair, and he's looking pretty mad at Deadpool because that's pretty on brand for that. So that's the finished product of Charlie and Pim as Deadpool and Wolverine. The next cartoon character duo is certainly the oldest one out of this bunch, and that is Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble as Deadpool and Wolverine. This was a phenomenal suggestion that I saw on TikTok because if you know the dynamic between Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble, I think that dynamic works perfectly with Deadpool and Wolverine, especially if you're like me and grew up watching those Cocoa Pebble commercials where Barney was always the bane of Fred Flintstone's existence, and it really fits well by having Barney as Deadpool and Fred as Wolverine. And I think Fred Flintstone was definitely the best choice because his whole look flows really well with his spiky hair and with the mutton chop look. And then Barney just having the basic circle eyes also work well with Deadpool because it fits perfectly with his mask. And if you look over here, you'll see the finished product of Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble as Deadpool and Wolverine. To start off the final three of these cartoon character duos, we have one of the most iconic cartoon character duos of the 90s, or maybe just duos in general, and that is Beavis and Butthead. This is a show that I personally haven't had a chance to watch, but I know that it was very popular with my dad's generation growing up into their 20s, into their 30s in the 90s. So it's a very popular show, very popular in pop culture around that time. So This was such a great idea that I got from TikTok, and I couldn't resist doing that. But again, I really don't know much about the characters, so I just kind of jumped into it. I know basically the overall look of the iconic characters, so I kind of just went along with that. And then here's the finished product here. Deadpool and Wolverine as Beavis and Butthead. We are now down to 2 awesome cartoon character duos left, and the next one is going to be Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny from the Looney Tunes as Deadpool and Wolverine. You really couldn't pick 2 better ones to match the energy that these 2 give each other. Bugs is always joking around with Daffy, always getting him so aggravated and always getting him hurt in the process as well, just like Deadpool does to Wolverine. So this was the perfect marriage, in my opinion, of 2 different sets of characters. In this one, again, very easy marriage, just adding the suits for each character, adding some mutton chops and spiky hair for Daffy as Wolverine, and here's the finished product of Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny as Deadpool and Wolverine. And before I dive into the last iconic cartoon character duo here, I want to talk about some of my other favorite Deadpool Wolverine drawings that I made this year that aren't necessarily about cartoon duos. Because in this whole series, I just also been drawing them basically in the style, not really basing it on certain characters, just kind of forming them into that style. And some of those favorites include Bluey, taking Dogpool as a Bluey character, and also reimagining how maybe a Wolverine dog variant would look like. I kind of pictured it to look like a German Shepherd. It was also fun to take the South Park Canadian style, turn them into those kind of characters because Ryan Reynolds is Canadian. And obviously in the movie, he even mentions how he's from Canada and did not disrespect Canada. So that was a fun one to do as well. Another favorite of mine was how the Peanuts / Charlie Brown style turned out. I think the look on Deadpool's face and then the look on Wolverine's face with the claws coming out all looks so good together, all fits the style very well. And also you can't take these characters and draw them in all these different styles without including Invincible. Invincible is becoming such an iconic animation style in the superhero genre, so I had to reimagine it in that. It also begs the question, how do you think these guys would do in that universe? How would they do against Invincible? How would they do against Omni-Man? It's certainly an interesting conversation. And the last one I'll talk about is the Diary of a Wimpy Kid style that I did. It's been such a fun challenge to try to dive into this style as well because it's very unique. It's all just black ink on a white background, and the character style is very noticeable and very unique. So this is another one that's been very fun. And we're now down to the last iconic cartoon character duo, and that is going to be SpongeBob and Squidward as Deadpool and Wolverine. Now on this drawing, I've seen someone comment saying that it was a huge miss to not do Patrick and SpongeBob, but I completely disagree because I think the dynamic between Squidward and SpongeBob suits these 2 leagues better than Patrick and SpongeBob does. You have to go for Deadpool being the annoying character towards the character that's always being annoyed and getting angry at him, which is why Squidward and SpongeBob fit so perfectly. And you'll see in the finished product right here that it still flows very well. You get to see Wolverine as Squidward looking very annoyed and very angry at SpongeBob as Deadpool, who's just sitting there looking so joyous at probably something incredibly out of pocket that he said that pissed off Wolverine. So there you have it. There's Deadpool and Wolverine drawn as 6 different iconic cartoon character duos. This was so much fun to do. Such a fun video to make. I always love drawing these characters. They're both so very unique in their own beautiful ways. So I love drawing these characters. I can't wait to draw more of them. Please let me know what you guys thought about this video in the comments. What other kind of drawings you want to see from me in the future. And don't forget to follow me on TikTok and Instagram and Letterboxd as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day and keep on drawing.